Hello, everyone. This is Eric Gibbs with Gambling News, and I'm here today with Yaniv Sherman, the Senior VP Head of US at 888 Holdings, the position he's had since January this year, but he is certainly not a stranger to the company. He was previously the Head of Business Development, a position he had since October of 2007. And prior to that, he was the Senior VP Head of Commercial Development for 4 years. His background is extensive in business development, including a launch from a master's degree in business administration, and that has catapulted him into a leading position in the iGaming world today. Yaniv, thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you here, and we're looking forward to hearing your side of what's going on in the iGaming world today.
Thanks for having me.
Definitely our pleasure. 888 doesn't need a big introduction. It's one of the longest running iGaming operators out there today. It's been around since 1997 when it was started as Virtual Holdings Limited and launched Casino on Net. It's big in both online gaming and poker and continues to develop cutting edge products that are helping transform the entire online gaming industry. 888 is active in markets all around the world and is particularly keen on developing a larger footprint in the US, which is certainly a large target that has started to reap rewards for the company. So having said that, Yaniv, what is now driving 888 Holdings' direction as the company continues to expand?
Well, I think that we've charted a very clear strategy for the company, for starting with the board, the management, and all the way down to employees, investors, shareholders, and multi-pillar approach that had product and gaming excellence at the forefront. And we've executed against this strategy in the past few years, and we're now reaping the rewards of that investment. Naturally, we had COVID as a major global disruptor, but also we've seen a structural shift from the physical world to the virtual world, not just in gaming, but in almost all facets of life. But I think we had the privilege of getting into this world crisis well prepared. And our investment into the product and technology and the people allowed us to do that in scale and capitalize on any opportunity that we had. We are a global operator operating across numerous jurisdictions, whether in Europe or in North America. And also we're a tech hub. Being originated from Israel, but also on a global level, we're a tech and marketing company, and we develop our own tech, so it's only natural that we will put product technology at the forefront. Then the other element that we put clearly on our strategy and on our path, and we can get into that later on, is responsible gaming or safe gaming, which we believe is inherent to everything we do.
It is, and even though 888 has been proactive on the responsible gaming front, it is now obviously a big deal around the world, and it's something that all operators are going to have to pay more attention to. But as you alluded to, 888 has been at the forefront of creating responsible gaming guidelines that are also helping shape the industry as well. You mentioned how tech is a huge part of the company's operations. So that leads me to my next question. What are the primary factors that are helping drive new product development at the company?
It's always, I think, a two-way street. First of all, you need to listen to your customers. You need to see what's out there, trends, perform market research, but you also have to build a team and an agenda. So we expect we've established a product department about 2 years ago, and that team leads our product vision across the company. It's not just about creating an agenda. It's having a vision looking at your next 1 to 5 years, and then executing against that strategy and agenda. And I think online gaming is a sector or an area that was ripe for disruption or major overhaul. I think a lot of the elements that we see today in online gaming are sort of a natural continuum or evolution from the physical world, from physical gaming that's been around for over 100 years in various shapes and forms. I think products like virtual or digital slots, poker, and live casino are products that started off as a spin-off from the physical world, but sort of took a life of their own. I think that translates. It's only, I think, fitting that a lot of the public companies now trading across the world actually have higher market caps or valuation than the physical casinos that actually have assets and real estate and thousands of employees. And I think that has to do with the market understanding that, first of all, the future is digital. Again, all facets of life, not just gaming, the proliferation of digital gaming, but also the total addressable market. I mean, when I was in the US, you were, on the East Coast, you were about an hour and a half away driving to a local casino, which is, much different than flying out to Vegas like 30 or 40 years ago, but still, it's a physical experience. As the population, the younger population matures, I think their preferences is much different. So just a long-winded way of saying that the product also needs to change to cater for that new customer that didn't necessarily fly out or drive out to play blackjack or place a sports bet in the US and worldwide.
That's a good point. And you mentioned how digital is becoming the norm, in some retail casino operators have been reluctant to admit that this change is occurring, right? And they're not as willing to jump on the digital bandwagon, but it is ultimately what's going to happen. Digital is certainly the future. You only have to look at how children today, everything they do is online, right? Their cell phones, their smartphones, mobile devices, tablets, what have you, email, the majority of what they want is found on the internet. And that's going to obviously spill over into the gaming world as well, as we've seen. And of course, COVID helped give that a huge boost. But over the next several years, there's going to be a really big transition into the online gaming sphere. And I'm sure, seen a number of the comments that have been made over the past year from old physical gamblers that were adamantly opposed to gambling online, but now they're like, hey, wait a minute, this is actually working for me. I can sit on my couch and gamble. And it's opening everyone's eyes and is making a huge difference in how online gambling is being accepted globally. So it's going to be an interesting few years as this transition continues to develop. Two of the newer products that have been brought forward by 888 are Bet Finder and Bet Builder. How are they performing and how are they being received by the market?
First of all, very well. I mean, we've transitioned or migrated the vast majority of our global business to our proprietary solution. We bought a company called BetBright in 2019 and rebranded it as Spectate, our in-house sports hub based in Dublin. We have migrated just over 80% of the NGR globally to the proprietary platform last year. We're happy to see the performance. We have not lost a step. You saw our recent first half results. We've shared that a vast majority of players, I think around 80% or more, have used these functions, Bet Builder specifically, and Bet Finder as well. I think they are pivotal or necessary adjustments to the sports product globally, and I'm happy that we were able to execute them as well as we did, because again, bettors today, especially the new generation of bettors, have two important aspects in mind. One, they want to build their own experience, and they don't want to be they don't like products that are too prescriptive. So you want to be able to customize your betting and entertainment experience in general. And second, find, meaning that the search bar has become so instrumental, so integrated into our everyday existence. And that is also coupled with the fact that we offer hundreds of thousands of live events every year.
Right.
Then that's also only natural. But these are two important product features that have been well accepted and been working out very well for us in terms of engagement and feedback that we've received from our players, our customers.
And I'm sure they're going to continue to perform really well in the market. 888 just scored a huge touchdown. So we're going to talk about that for a couple of minutes. At least from my perspective, it's a pretty significant deal. And I think it not only gives 888 obviously the awareness, but it puts it into the same category as elite sports linked entities across the US. And I'm talking about the hookup with Sports Illustrated. This is a fantastic coup on the part of 888. And I'm sure it wasn't easy to bring that home. How is that working out? I know that you're about to launch a branded sports book. What does this mean for 888's growth across the US and ultimately around the world?
I think it's a milestone moment on so many levels, both for our US agenda, our global agenda. We have never promoted or marketed a non-888 brand. That was it's historical precedent for us. It's a connection not just with a brand, it's a connection with a media outlet. It's a connection with a brand house, source of traffic, distribution, and you mentioned awareness. So it's strategic and it's important for us on so many levels. It's also something that we need to start working. It's been a great great work so far with the Authentic Brands Group, ABG, and the Maven teams on getting this ready for launch. And now we'll need to roll it out, get market share, show traction, and show that we are able to compete with that combination, because that combination is a rather elusive one. The connection between entertainment, brands, media, and gaming. I think we've done so far, the teams have done an incredible job in integrating the products, but more importantly, we're integrating the teams. We're going to co-locate with the Sports Illustrated editorial and content teams physically, because we believe, as much as physically as possible nowadays, but we thought it will be an important element. We're building a startup within Maven, ABG, and 888. So it's on every possible level. I think it marked a very important day and milestone in our overall strategy that I mentioned earlier, becoming or preserving our spot as not just as a pioneer, but also as a leading gaming, online gaming operator.
And you're definitely right. I mean, this is significant on a number of levels, and I think some people may not realize how important it is. You mentioned, the entertainment aspect, and I think that this is where there's a really big disconnect in the sports gambling side of things, because it is entertainment, right? It's not just about gambling and making money or losing money, which is where the opponents like to harp on all the time. But sports betting is entertainment. It is a form of entertainment, and being tied with Sports Illustrated will put 888 and the entire sports betting industry in a whole new light. As Sports Illustrated has been around, for generations, and it's a recognized name, just as 888 is now. And bringing these two together, I think, is going to help show how important the sports betting side of things is for its entertainment value, and not the gambling. Let's go out and make $1 million, placing the sports bet. That's the certainly the rarity, right? It's the majority of the sports bettors, around 92%, I believe, do it for the entertainment value, not
Yep.
for the chance to become wealthy. And so this is bringing 888 to the forefront with a company like Sports Illustrated will help drive that message home and really open up the awareness of what sports betting is and how it works. So congratulations on that. And we definitely look forward to seeing a lot of great things coming from 888 and Sports Illustrated in the future. Now, having said that, this might shift 888's momentum a little bit over the next couple of years, because it puts a lot more emphasis on the direction that 888 goes. So where do you see 888 5 years from now?
That's a great question. I mean, we've charted that course, but we see 888 continuing to be a global leader in both sports betting and gaming, a multi-product company that is putting its technology, its people, its focus behind regulated markets. So 5 years from now, I mean, we were able, if you saw again our first half results, one of the more interesting facts is that during the first half of 2021, we were able to generate almost as much as we did in 2018 in its entirety. So our number one goal is to preserve that momentum, that growth trend. And then on our organic agenda, continue to launch in what we believe will be commercially attractive markets and becoming a meaningful material player in that field, like we've done in Italy and Spain, and now we're working on the US and naturally in North America, which now also includes Canadian provinces, becoming a major player in those markets. So 5 years from now, I see us becoming an even more dominant player in the markets we're already in, launching in several additional states. We've put a goal in front of us to be live within 2 or 3 years, live between 12 to 15 states. And on top of that, also expand our strategic relationship with Caesars. And that is the organic side of the business. And naturally, we are constantly on the look for inorganic growth, potential acquisitions, interesting products, and teams that we like-minded agenda that we can bolster the business with and take us to the next level. So I see us in 5 years as a much bigger company, and operating in even a bigger footprint with a lot more innovation behind its product. I think we just scraped the surface over the last 2 years with everything we've done across our products with Orbit Casino and Poker 8, and now Spectate, the sports product, and SI, our AI technology that's powering this whole gaming proposition, is something of, I want to say, a market leader in our sector. So all these things and a few others that we're currently focusing on, especially on the marketing operations side, I think will bear fruit in the coming years and will enable us to reach that goal.
And I'm sure it will. You mentioned just now AI. Artificial intelligence and virtual reality are slowly working their way into the online gaming space. There's been obviously a lot more activity over the last year as more online casino operators are trying to give their digital solutions a natural casino feel. So where do you see AI as part of the iGaming space over the next couple of years?
Well, I think the two are different. I think VR, virtual reality, has been sort of slower to penetrate, a lot because of the equipment or the hardware that is required to power it. AI has been exploding, in terms of practical implementation and applications. Much like other things, we've opted to take the more thorough route and develop our own infrastructure. People typically race to implement AI technology, mostly algorithms and recommendation engines, into their existing propositions, sort of mostly from third parties that specialize in it. We actually took a bit longer, develop an infrastructure that we can then plug in either third-party engine or proprietary ones, and we have multiple engines working in parallel, basically continuously learning and optimizing and offering our players a customized experience. I mean, the vision there is to make the 888 products personally customized for you, not a group of people, not a country, but for you. We're getting closer to that experience. And I think that that's why I say that we're sort of pioneering this, because it's been an inherent part of the product's success. It's not just enough to, it's not enough to develop a cool front end or product features. It's also, how do you make them accessible? How do you present them to what is by now an oversaturated customer that has multiple push notification on his mobile device? He is mobile first, which means the real estate is not what it used to be, and spends a lot more time on device, but much shorter time frames, which means you need to get it right. You need to be very accurate. You need to be, you can't be too abrasive or intrusive in the way you present stuff, and that comes down to data. We've always been a big data-based company in analytics. AI puts another layer on top of it that also allows you to scale. What you used to do, like when I joined the company, everything I just said was done manually. People would look at reports and optimize marketing campaigns based on offline data. Now everything is automated, and there's AI in the background that takes that data and recommends that to the player. So from a manual marketing operation, you now become an Uber operator. And monitoring and making those adjustments. That is exactly what online is about. That's how you scale, and that's how you get that flywheel turning to fuel such growth.
And you're absolutely right. AI is making a difference both in the foreground and the background. A lot of the online gamers don't see it. Obviously, they don't see the changes, and they don't see the benefit that operators are getting from AI's capabilities. But being able to process and analyze massive amounts of data in seconds compared to weeks that were previously necessary, like you mentioned, is a huge difference, especially as the market becomes more competitive. Those companies that can stay on the cutting edge of development, like 888, through AI and its other initiatives, are going to be in a much better position to drive the overall market and stay on top of the development as everything continues to change. So having said that, currently, what is the one biggest challenge facing the sports betting and iGaming markets in the US? And as you started to open your eyes to what's going on across the country, you should have a really good feel for what's going on in all of the different states right now.
I think I think the two biggest challenges right now is one is the cost structure. That's a commercial topic. I think that this market, hyper growth market development, has been fueled by a lot of cheap capital in the US market, which is great because you get to do the things and be more aggressive, but also beats this somewhat irrational decision-making environment. I think that as you move forward, investors and shareholders and analysts, the market in general, will start moving from a growth at any cost approach to one that looks at the path of profitability and efficiency. I think the cost structure in the US is becoming more and more challenging. People used to focus on tax rates, but they understand now that market access is only partly taxes to the state. There are fees, there are data rights. contracts that you have to sign, which at the end of the day become very, very expensive. That's why I think size advantage is always important. And as someone, with the clout of a large operator behind him, definitely is a competitive edge. But you also need to make sure the market works and is attractive enough for operators to continue and investing in it. That's one thing. And the other thing, I think it's tied to what we spoke about in safe gaming. I think that at some point, the regulators, policymakers would start shifting their focus from enabling online gaming to more closely monitoring it and making sure that everyone's in line. I'm saying it because I think as an industry, we need to be proactive here. And we need to set the agenda. We need to learn as a global operator that has both the global and the historical perspective. I know these cycles, I know how they work. And I think that we should be mindful of it. You're completely right that most people approach sports betting as an entertainment destination, and us as operators have to cater to that need and purpose. So specifically, we've made a genuine effort on our products and our approach, marketing strategy to spread ourselves thinner over more clients, less high value customers, more recreational ones. I think it's a healthier ecosystem. And I think this is something that the operators in the market will need to, again, proactively do. It's not just about hiring a person that runs that agenda. We have a compliance department, we have a safe gaming practice, but those are also techies. They also craft products that we develop into our technology using the same tools like AI and machine learning and mobile to reflect or to power safe gaming. We believe that the customer should have a clear view of his activity and tools if he wants to either limit or change his betting patterns. And we built that into our safe gaming, was launched last year. Most of the customers looking at their account have actually visited that area. Okay, the overwhelming majority of players want to see that information. Some of them take action, some of them just access their safe zone, much like they access their account. And I think that's also a competitive edge in our view. We don't see that as an impediment or an evil necessity. This is a part of what we're doing. It makes us a better company, more competitive. And I think that once this becomes a real agenda here in the US, it will also serve as a key differentiator, and we're certainly big believers in.
And you're absolutely right. It will, and it's going to drive a lot of how the overall U.S. market develops over the next several years. It's it's such a menagerie of different guidelines and statutes and tax ramifications and so much because of how the gambling laws are developed in the U.S. That it really requires a lot of due diligence on the part of the operator to make sure that they're able to keep up with all of the changes. But as you mentioned, with everyone on board, 888 is in a much better position to roll out and introduce its products to new markets much more easily than some of the others that are currently operating in the U.S. and that are trying to get into the U.S. as well. Yaniv, I really appreciate your time today. This has been a wonderful talk. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with the world?
No, keep looking at that space. Hopefully we'll see the launch of SI Sportsbook is imminent, and we're looking to see great things there as this football season starts, and college football as well, and take it from there. So I mean, I hope to talk to you soon and discuss some of the amazing results that will be rolling in, hopefully.
Well, we definitely will. And I know 888 is going to have a wonderful and very successful future. So we will definitely have to circle back around in a few months and see how everything's going. So thank you for your time, Yaniv. It's been a pleasure. I look forward to speaking with you again, and wish you and the rest of the crew at 888 all of the luck in the world.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks. Much appreciated.
Thanks. Take care.